So thanks for coming. Let's get started today for yin yoga in resting belly pose. So coming to lie on your belly. We'll start off nice and slow. So just lying on your belly and then making a pillow with your arms. And then resting your head, either forehead on your arms or tilting to one side. So just opening our yin class today. Connecting to the ground with every breath that you inhale. And then every exhale melting further into the ground. So today's class is going to be full of hip openers. And hip openers are great at releasing anger. So if any time you feel anger arising in today's class, just know that the poses are doing the work they're supposed to do. And just move through the feelings that you feel. Take this time to start paying attention to your breath, making your inhales and exhales even. Now take one more deep inhale here. And on the exhale, slowly make your way up with your forearms on the ground. We'll come into Sphinx pose. So your forearms will be flat on the ground, fingertips spread wide, palms on the ground, pulling up and out of that torso. Making sure your shoulders are directly over your elbows. And if you want to, you can always bring your hands up to prayer or put a block here just to rest your head on if that feels good. Because we'll be here for just a few minutes. Taking an inhale to deepen your breath. On an exhale, slowly release out of this position by pushing yourself up to seated. So coming to sit on your knees. And if you need some additional padding under your knees, go ahead and get that in place. And we're going to tuck our toes underneath. And we're going to sit down into a toe squat. So just coming to sit down on the backs of your feet and just placing your hands wherever it's comfortable and just settling in for 2 minutes of this toe squat here. And then breathing in and out and just paying attention to that breath. This one might be a little intense as time goes on, so feel free to come out if you need to. Just one more minute in this pose. Now taking a deeper inhale. Let's exhale and thank goodness come out of that one, right? So release the tops of your feet back down to the floor. And then we're going to sit back down and then do an ankle stretch. So bringing your hands behind you and just coming up to whatever degree your knees need to come off the floor so you feel that stretch in those ankles. Fingertips can face in or out. Just holding here for a few minutes to counteract the work we just did. And then slowly begin to release that from wherever you are. And then let's come up to standing at the front of your mat. So just slowly making your way up after that foot stretch. And from here, let's have our feet hip width apart. And just inhale your arms up to the sky. And then exhale to forward fold, falling over your legs. And then we're going to get comfortable here as we're going to hold, letting your head dangle. And we're going to just be in this position called dangling. And if it feels good, you can cross your arms and relax your head. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So know that if you need to come out of this, you can always come down to child's pose. Feeling free to bend those knees as well, so that it's a little softer of a pose in the beginning. We're just about halfway through. So in these yin poses, we kind of have 3 rules we try to follow. The first is we find our edge. So we find that point where it's not too much, but not too little. And then the second thing we do is we get still and as quiet as we can. And then the third thing we do is just let time pass, trying to maintain that stillness through the poses. And that stillness both in our mind and in our physical body, which is sometimes the hardest part of yin yoga. So if you notice at any time your mind is just running and racing, just know a good way to bring it back is to concentrate on the breath, because that's our one anchor that's always there. So take one more inhale there. And on the exhale, start to bend your knees, release your hands to the ground. And then let's take our feet at a 45-degree angle to the outer edge of your yoga mat. And we're just going to sit down into that yoga squat that we call malasana. So toes pointing out, using your hands in between in prayer position to help open up those hips. And we'll just be here for 2 minutes, trying to maintain length in that spine. We're almost done. Taking one more inhale there. Let's release our hands down to the ground and begin to straighten those legs. And we're going to come back so your feet are hip width apart again. And we're going to go back into dangling one more time for one more 3-minute hold. So getting comfortable in that position. Maybe this time you extend your legs if that feels good. Or feel free to keep them bent. Just allowing all the back muscles to release. Just about halfway through with this one. Now let's take one more deep inhale here. And on the exhale, release those hands down. Spread your feet back out to the outer edges of your yoga mat one more time. We're going to do the squat again. So feet angled at 45 degrees, coming down into that squat. Feeling free to grab a block if you need to place underneath of your bottom. That might help in this position. And so we'll just be here for 2 minutes. Sometimes the poses that we avoid are the ones we need the most, and this is definitely one that can be hard. So I challenge you to just keep trying any pose that seems not accessible right now, because eventually down the road, it'll become accessible. Taking one more inhale here. Exhale, releasing your fingertips to the ground and slowly making your way out. And then coming onto your knees, just taking your time. We're going to come into child's pose, something familiar and comfortable. So opening your knees out to the outer edges of your mat and just sitting back onto your feet. Feeling free to extend those arms out in front of you and resting your forehead to the ground. Maybe using a block if you need to on your head. We'll just be here for a few moments. Taking a deep inhale here. Exhale and slowly make your way out of that pose. And then we're going to come into frog pose from here. So we're going to open our feet out to the outer edges, or I like to turn on my mat sideways. You can do that if you want to as well, because we're going to try to open up our legs as wide as you can. So you're literally making yourself look like you have frog legs. So releasing the bottoms of those feet in toward the ground. So with your hips open and your feet flat on the ground, pointing out, and then releasing down to the ground in front of you, just so you feel that stretch in the hips. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground, but just find that point of tension. And then we'll be here for 3 minutes, so it will be challenging, but always know you can come out if you need to. Taking a deep inhale through your nose. Let's exhale and slowly make our way out of that. And coming back to all fours. And then once you get here, just give your hips a sway side to side. Release any tension that might be there. And then when you're ready, let's push ourselves up to downward facing dog. We won't have many in the class, but just pulling yourself up, hips high to the sky, feet to the ground, knees bent if that feels good. Let's take an inhale and lift that right leg to the sky. And on the exhale, pull that right leg through. And we're going to come into sleeping swan. So bringing your right leg to rest on the ground in front of you at the top of your mat. Releasing the left leg long behind you. Releasing the left toes. And when you're ready, inhaling here, and then exhaling to fall forward. Feeling free to put a block under that right hip if you need some support there. Now let's take a deep inhale here. And on the exhale, let's slowly make our way back up to have your hands on the ground. And we're going to pull ourselves back to that downward facing dog again. So tucking those left toes and bringing that left leg right back up into the sky. And then setting it down onto the ground. So back to downward facing dog. From here, let's just lift our toes up and then release your right foot flat onto the ground. And then lift your toes up again. And then left foot down. So just pedal those feet out. Then inhale both toes up, feeling on your toes, heels off the ground. And then exhale, releasing those feet flat onto the ground. Now let's inhale, your left leg will go up to the sky. And exhale to pull it through to the front of the mat. So left leg will come to the top of your mat, placing it flat on the ground, coming back into sleeping swan on the other side. So releasing the right toes and the right leg. Inhaling here. And then exhaling to come over and dropping down to the front of your mat. Again, feel free to put a block into the left side of the hip if you need support there. Taking one last inhale here. Let's exhale and slowly make our way out of this position. Getting ready to come back into downward facing dog. So hands flat on the ground, popping those right toes up, and then bringing that left foot back and up into the sky. Inhaling there and exhale to release that foot to the ground. So from here, let's inhale our right foot up to the sky. And then exhale to bring it through, this time placing your right foot flat on the ground in front of you. So coming into a low lunge, dropping that left knee to the ground. And then now releasing the left top of that foot and then scooching your left knee back just a little bit. And then taking our right foot, let's open it to the right side of our mat. So we have some space in the hip area here. So we're going to get ready to go down into the dragon pose, but just for 1 minute. So if you need to bring a block in front of you to place it on, you can do that to place your forearms on. Or if you want to come down into the full dragon, you can do that as well. Taking a deep inhale here. Now let's exhale to slowly make your way back up. And from here, we're just going to place our hands on our leg. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. Taking a deep inhale here. Now let's exhale to come back down into that dragon again. This time we'll let our right foot come off the ground a little bit into winged dragon. So really opening that hip to the right. Again, we'll be here this time for 2 minutes, so feel free to use those blocks to modify as needed for your arms. I know this is an intense series. Inhaling deeply here. Let's exhale, this time keeping your left forearm on the ground, but bringing your right hand onto your knee. We're just going to twist and flattening that right foot as well. We're just going to twist the dragon just for a minute. We'll hold here. Taking one more inhale here and exhale to release, hands to the ground. We're going to slowly make our way back up to that low lunge. And let's just pull that right leg back so that it's straight for just a second. That should feel really good right now. And on an inhale, flatten that right foot. And on an exhale, pull it back again. Let's just move through that a few times. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, back. One more time, inhaling it forward. And exhaling back. And then coming back through center, we're going to bring your hands flat to the ground, pop onto your left toes of the back leg. And then we're going to pull that leg back up into the sky to come into downward facing dog one more time. So releasing that right leg to the ground, finding downward facing dog. Now we'll inhale our left leg up to the sky because we have to do that whole thing on the other side. So left foot forward to the top of the mat. Releasing the right knee down, releasing the right toes. Scooching that left foot over to the outer edge of your mat. Making room for those arms in between. So inhaling here and then exhaling to come down. Modifying as needed. Taking a deep inhale here. Let's exhale to come up. And we're going to put our hands on our left thigh. This is a dragon flying high here. So we'll be here for 2 minutes. Taking a deep inhale here. Let's exhale and come down back to the ground. So hands down to the ground. We're going to open, open our left hip so our left foot comes off the ground. We're going to wing that dragon. So coming down into winged dragon. We'll be here for a couple minutes. Remembering to breathe through any challenges you have, coming back to that breath. Just knowing everything is impermanent in our yoga class, so it will pass. Now taking a deep inhale here. Let's exhale, and we're going to bring our right forearm to the ground, so keeping that there. And then we're going to twist to the left this time, so left hand to your left leg, opening that left shoulder. Just here for a minute. Knowing this is the last dragon of the class. Take one last inhale here. And exhale, hands to the ground. We're going to come back to downward facing dog, so popping up onto the back of those toes one more time. Releasing that left leg back to the sky. And then both feet to the ground. Let's take one last inhale here in downward facing dog. And then exhale, releasing those knees to the ground. And slowly walking your feet to the knees to the top of the mat. And then having a seat. And then making your way to lie down onto your back. Thank goodness, right? So coming back down. When you get back, let's bring our knees into the chest. So knees into your chest. Giving them a squeeze in. From here, let's keep our right knee in and extend the left leg long and straight. And then we're going to extend our right arm out to the right side of the space. And we're going to twist our right leg to the left. So finding a twist to the left. Left hand could be on that right knee. Just a nice spinal twist here to close out the class. Now take an inhale, and on the exhale, slowly make your way back through center, and then bring both of those knees back in, squeezing them in. And from here, we'll leave the left knee squeezed in, and the right leg will extend long in front of you. And then we're going to take that twist to the right, so left arm out to the left side of the space. Right hand helps that left leg go over to the right. Take one last inhale here. And then exhale to slowly make your way back to center with both of those knees. Bringing both knees in and squeezing them in. Now release both of your feet onto the ground. And then make a TP with your legs so that your knees knock in toward each other. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And then let's just take a minute here. I'd like for you to think of one thing that you're grateful for today. And just silently repeat to yourself, thank you for, and then fill in what you're grateful for. Repeat that to yourself about 3 or 4 times. And then the next thing I want you to do is to think of a quality in someone that you love or admire. And say, thank you for this person, or just thank you to that person in whatever way feels right. And then finally, I want you to think about yourself. And think about something either that you love about yourself or that you want to work on with yourself. And we're going to place the words I am in front of that. So maybe your word is I am strong, I am peaceful, whatever that is. Repeat that to yourself a few times. And now bring those knees back in towards center, maybe keeping your eyes closed. Inhale in, pulling everything up and squeezing your legs with your arms. Take one last deep inhale here. And then exhale into Shavasana, so everything comes to lie flat on the ground, legs open, palms facing the sky. Seeing how calm you can make your mind in these last minutes of class. Seeing how weightless you can become. So this is your invitation to slowly start awakening and coming back to the sensation of your body. And today, feel free to stay there as long as you like. We'll just end class here in Shavasana, lying on your back. Thank you for your practice today.